Now let's go across the Limpopo to our neighbors in Zimbabwe, where President Emmerson Mnangagwa has finally spoken about the ongoing unrest in the country and the dire economic situation. He's acknowledged that it will be difficult to turn things around. Zimbabwean citizens in South Africa protested outside their embassy in Pretoria yesterday, calling for international intervention. Mnangagwa has refused to cut short his trip abroad. Now let's talk to our correspondent in Harare on the telephone line. That's Pindai Dube, just to get the latest. Pindai, just first, we understood that internet was down earlier in Zimbabwe. Now it's back up. We also understood that social media access has been a problem. Just on that score alone, before we get into the substance of our chat this morning, have those services been restored from what you know?
Good morning, Dan. That's true. Internet has been restored, but social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp is still down. And the government says, as I mentioned before, is that it's for security reasons. Some mobile operators and internet service providers, they sent messages to customers advising them that the social media platforms are still down until further notice.
Okay, now Pindai, on the protest itself, we understand yesterday the police and the heavily armed police arrested Evan Mawarire, the founder of the This Flag movement, plus the hundreds of other people. Any news about these arrests?
Yes, according to Zimbabwe police, about 600 people in total have been arrested countrywide. And I spoke to some civic society groups who said that the police cells are full and people are expected to go to court today. And yesterday also about 70 people appeared in court in Harare, and some were granted bail, some are still inside, and some, their trials are expected to kick off today. And Evan Mawarire was arrested yesterday at his home in the morning. He spent a day in this police cells and is expected to appear at the Harare Magistrate Court this morning. And they are charging him with inciting public violence through his videos where he called for the people to protest together with the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions.
Just for clarity, all of these 600 arrests that the police have made, are they only in Harare or also in places like Bulawayo?
Yeah, it's countrywide. That's Harare, Bulawayo, Kadoma, and other parts of Zimbabwe.
Now, the people who've called for this protest, one of them is Pastor Evan Mawarire. Now he's behind bars. We also understand from MDC reports that some of their officials have also been arrested in parts of the country. Are they planning to carry on with the protest following this crackdown by the police on the protesters yesterday?
There's been no statement yet, then, on the way forward, because there's been a crackdown by the security forces. Several people are arrested and some injured. So we expect them to issue a statement today, especially the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions. We tried to get a comment from Peter Mtasa, who is the president of Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Union, but we understand he's in hiding and all his phones are off.
Okay, now we've had calls from Zimbabweans here in South Africa for Pretoria to intervene and assist in what's going on in Zimbabwe. On the ground in Harare, are Zimbabweans also there calling for an involvement of sorts or intervention of sorts by South Africa?
Yes, very true. Several Zimbabweans are calling for intervention of the SADC region, saying that the situation in Zimbabwe needs to be resolved. And also the crisis coalition, which is a group of civic society, society groups in Zimbabwe, has also issued a statement calling in the African Union to intervene in Zimbabwe. So, and today we expect it's expected to be a normal day, but we drove around town this morning and the situation is calm and still the same. There are no taxis And one of the taxi operators we spoke to, he said, of course, they want to operate, but the problem, there's still no fuel, and they don't, and they'll continue until they get fuel. That's when they'll be back on the road.
Now, Pindai, very briefly, is it fair to sum up the situation in Zimbabwe as that no activity actually is happening? I mean, there's a fuel, you can't get fuel, the price have gone up, there's protests. Is it fair to say that at the moment Zimbabwe is in a standstill? Hello, Pindai?
Yes. What is expected, as I mentioned then, is that today it should be a normal day. But nothing has changed so far. And we'll see whether today goods will be available in the shops. Because the funny thing, yesterday, while there was a shutdown, some fuel, some garages were pouring fuel, and people were still queuing. And we expect to see more queues today than before, because remember, then yesterday, during this 3-day protest, people were stuck and could not get these basic commodities. So we expect people to go out looking for basic commodities. And also teachers have threatened to go on strike. So it's not yet, we don't see the end to this crisis.
Thank you very much. That's our correspondent in Harare, the capital of Zimbabwe, Pindai Dube.